Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. Happy Sunday to you. We're taking a look here at Solana, seeing what's going on. I got a ton of requests on this one here, and I can totally see why it's dumping like crazy. I know the rest of the market is pretty red, but this coin is a special coin, mainly because there's some fundamental data there we're going to talk about here in a minute. But the bottom line is that it does look like it wants to continue lower. We may see a little bit of a relief rally, perhaps a dead cat bounce like we've seen previously. But I do think this coin is going to continue lower in the overall sense of things, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So if you're new to the channel, love teaching people to trade. Hope you can learn something here today. We got some awesome members over here in our Discord now. The group is growing, so thank you again so much to all the members that are jumping on over there, getting engaged, learning what you can, and becoming just an awesome part of my life. And I know you're enriching others as well, because when we all come together, we do a lot better. Speaking of coming together, if you take a look here, we can see that we took some nice profits here from ID in 16 hours, 16%. It's not bad, average of 1% per hour. And then we got a 2.5 day trade here from OGN recently at 135%. My most recent video, I think it was yesterday, the day before, I covered why we took that trade. So if you're curious of what we do in our community here to get these kind of profits, I try to explain that in every video. So that's the whole point there. And we're going to talk here today about why I'm likely considering shorting this coin. So why are we going to short Solana? Well, let's talk about the fundamental stuff first, because this is a fairly stark reality here. So again, on my Twitter here and or Telegram, same thing as well. We kind of carbon copy. We have this situation here with FTX, right? So basically there's a lot of selling pressure potentially coming soon here, because FTX has $3.4 billion in crypto since April. And the proposed plan is to sell these assets roughly $200 million a week. And if you can see here, what's their largest amount of assets that they have right now? It is quite a lot. Solana is the largest, 685 million. Okay, so again, that may not be massive, but it's going to be enough to notice. And on a weekend like this, it makes sense the price is dropping, because obviously Bitcoin's stabilizing, or well, trying to stabilize, actually having a significant trouble doing so. And in turn, we're seeing FTX get kind of likely sell these off, right? Keep in mind, there's still a lot of mixed bags here. They got 1.2 billion in mixed third-party exchanges that we don't know yet what that is. Once again, I'll send that here available on Twitter and or Telegram, also our Discord as well, just so you can kind of stay abreast on that once we have that information. But right now, we can assume Solana is going to continue lower. And it's not just a fundamental catalyst here, too. You got to keep this in mind. There's a lot of technical catalysts as well. One thing just kind of preface, though, and let you know the sky isn't necessarily falling. There are some positive chart patterns here. We do have a rising wedge previously, which is typically a bearish sign, contrary to the color and or the name. With it rising, it comes up, tests resistance levels, and then comes down. Okay. With the falling wedge, which we're seeing right now, we can see the price action is coming down to test lower lows and lower highs, and it eventually breaks out. Okay, so we could very well see the price ramp back up to the $20 range. There's no doubt that could very well happen. But this line right here at $20.75 is a strong resistance level, as it was a previous one-day candlestick closure. We also have a massive falling wedge on the daily too. So if it comes down lower, it may not come down lower depending on, or we might see this little rally, a relief rally to come up here. But I do still feel like the overall trend is down. Okay, so let's talk about that and what I mean by that. So we got falling wedges all over the place. Kind of funny. So take a look here at the weekly. This is what we want to recognize. So there's two key levels here. First of all, the previous one, this is a little ways away, but $9.79, $9.80 effectively, is a previous support and resistance level based on January. Effectively, if you remember January, that was a good month, of course, near the end of the month, but it started off pretty poorly with a low as well, as low as about $7.75. It rallied back. Of course, Bitcoin rallied back at this time too, if you recall. But generally speaking, we're looking at a low here. This is a 1 week closure, which is, again, a more significant level. And in fact, I was talking with one of my community members earlier today. We had some DM chat, and we're talking about, what's good indications, what are things to pay attention to. And the larger the time frame, the more impactful the indicators and or support and resistance levels are. So for right now, Solana, we know that we have some key level supports here, but if the price were to come down to this level at just say $10 even, or $9.80 roughly, well, there's a great chance we're going to see a bounce at that point, because that's the most recent low. That's the lowest point we're just seeing. Okay? Same thing, and furthermore, we can see the same thing here as well, with a significant candle wick there, right around 1540. Okay, so we got a candle wick that touched or kissed that area, and we got basically 3 weeks in a row where the price action would not close below 1530. So that reaffirms that's key level support. Okay? So the price comes down further for Solana, which I'm expecting. We should see a bounce off the 1540, 1530 range as a close approximate. Okay? So just something to note here. We're going to draw some new fibs here as well, kind of see what's going on. I get the question also a lot, how do you do your fibs? And in this situation, since we haven't hit a bottom yet, and we know the price may continue lower, you don't draw your fibs out from here to here. because that would be kind of premature, right? These candlesticks haven't closed yet. That being said, instead, what you do is you take most recent low to most recent high, and this gives us much better parameters here. And as you can kind of see here, we got this key level resistance right there at 0.618 at $20. I'm rounding down a little bit. It's $20.15, close approximate, but $20 is an easy number to remember. So just know $20 is probably a key level resistance that the price action bounces back. Right? So say this falling wedge pattern here that we see essentially recovers. We'll likely see the price come up to this level here and reject somewhere in this range and come back down. So better shorting opportunity would be the $20 to $20.50 range, but initially we can expect the price to continue lower until it doesn't. Okay, so again, that's where we're at there. So let's forget all these patterns here for the moment, just work on support levels. And what we want to talk about next is some important things here. We are below 50 on the RSI, we have been for some time. We're getting closer to 30, so there is potential for a bounce here in the relative near future. We are seeing stochastic coming down as well. Furthermore, of course, we got a MACD divergence. Okay, so when you see a MACD divergence on the daily, it kind of tells us the overall momentum has shifted downward. Obviously, it continues to diverge, so it's not like it's a massive divergence, but it is still one nonetheless. Let's take a look at our moving averages and see here. This is another question I got to from, I think it was Riven, and we were talking about moving averages. To me, I like to use simple moving averages on the larger time frames and exponential on the smaller time frames, mainly because the SMAs work with the average time frame. So we know that this 200-day SMA is exactly 200 days worth of a moving average. Basically just telling us in the last 200 days, the average price right now is $21 for this coin. With us being below that level, it tells us we're oversold, but also underneath the key level resistance, and that price action should stay below that level. So with this 200 starting to average itself out closer to this support/resistance level at 0.618, that tells me $20 to $20.50 is a strong resistance level for this coin. So if I'm going to short, I would wait for entry closer to $20. Or I would take multiple entries. I'd take an entry now with another smaller position size right there in the $20 range, maybe even another one a little bit higher just in case. Okay? Different strokes for different folks, a lot of different ways you can do this, but the bottom line here is that the trend is down right now, and we're below some key levels, okay? So it's important to recognize that. So the daily doesn't look great. We're below all three moving averages. Last thing to note, too, is we have the 20-day SMA working itself down. That's telling us we have a descending trend here, okay? So we're establishing lower lows and lower highs consistently, so the price action should and could very well continue lower, okay? Again, that's just the concept that you want to kind of understand, right? It isn't concrete. It doesn't mean it's going to do that forever. It just implies that the movement is down, and the likelihood of the price action going up from here, at least passing that $20 range, is pretty low, okay? Unless Bitcoin rallies to 31,000, or just say 30,000, whatever, even 28,000, we're still not going to see Solana pass that level. It's a very strong likelihood the price continues lower. Okay, so there's that. We can also see our moving averages on the 4-hour, so we're below that as well. We are below 30 on the RSI here, and this is typically a situation, and we want to kind of highlight this, where anything under 30 on the RSI is usually a case in point where you overextended and the price should rally back. So if we look at the last time the price was significantly under 30, which, roughly about 22 here where we're at right now, it was right here back at about $14 when the price wicked all the way down here in June. And if you remember, that was a pretty poor day for Bitcoin. So with the price coming down that low for Solana, it makes sense. So again, if Bitcoin drops off, we should expect the price to come down. What I'm getting at here, though, is that the likelihood of the price dropping further from this immediate point right now at $18 is lower because we have that key level support. We're below 30 on the RSI. Okay? So even though we've passed 30 previously in the RSI, the price consolidated sideways and inevitably went up from there. Albeit Bitcoin went up from there, so if Bitcoin does go up from here, you can expect Solana to recover, at least somewhat. But you got to recognize too, in the back end there, FTX has 600 and some odd million Solana they can sell off at any given time. We've probably already seen that happening so far. That might be 1 or 2 million there, or a few million, whatever. It's a lot. That's the bottom line, right? And that's what causes these things to occur. So we can disseminate at this point there that all time frames are bearish. It doesn't mean you necessarily want to short the bottom, but it certainly means you want to be careful with the long here at this point, just because we don't have confirmation the price is going to stop going down. Looking at the hourly, we can see here that the overall sentiment is still bearish. Nothing really surprising here. I don't typically use RSI and MACD here, but you can see they're both overextended on the hourly. And if we take a look at the Ichimoku cloud, we can see we're well below here, and that we should be coming to a point where if you have a short position open, you should close it soon. But the key takeaway here is that we want to see how the price responds to the cloud here in the next 12 hours. So I'd say if traditional markets open tomorrow morning bearish, we can expect Solana to continue lower. We could expect a slight relief recovery. I do think that is possible based on us hitting these overextension points. But for right now, really, there's no proof here telling us the price is going to recover soon. So just be careful, again, if you're going to be using leverage, low position size, it's always the recommendation. That's what we use, and we're very successful, right? We're taking an average of 15 to 20% on our first target, and then of course, once we hit our third or fourth profit target, they get pretty excessive here with our total profit. So great stuff there. Same thing with Premium Plus too. We got some good gains here, nice little 9% there. Took a little loss from XRP, but we took some profit from BNB, Litecoin, Ethereum. The list kind of goes on. Litecoin again. So we stick with our favorite coins there on that day trading, but generally speaking, just be careful with Solana right now. It's trying to trick you into shorting, and if you do, then there's a good chance it'll pump and wipe you out. That's why low leverage, low position size makes more sense. But I would just be patient here. Today, here, I'm going to see and kind of wait for good confirmation if the price does recover a little bit. If we break this descending trend, I'll wait to short until we get close to that $20 mark. But right now, this is kind of one of those areas where you're overextended, but we're truly bearish. It's not really a great place to take trade. I don't have any full-on confirmation here, even though there is a lot of larger time frame macro telling us the price could come down. I'm going to wait for the price to come back up and retest this $19 to $20 range before I take a short. That's my consideration. So hope this makes sense for you guys. Thanks again so much for watching. I know it's a little bit wordy here today, but I like to kind of drive some points home and obviously try to help as best as I can, because I know we've got a lot of newer traders in our community, some advanced traders, and sometimes there's a gap there if you don't have enough experience, enough time to really see these things for what they are. And this to me just seems like a full-on trap. So I'd be very careful doing either direction right now. Wait a little bit longer for confirmation. Yes, we missed our opportunity. That's perfectly fine. It happens all the time. Just so you know, trading is a sea of missed opportunities. You'll never seize them all, okay? So please understand, it's not a big deal if you miss this one, right? But there's a good chance that the price in general will continue to come lower based on our macro here. We can see key level supports roughly at about 15. So a short from 18 to 15 would make sense. I'd just much rather take a short from 19 or 20 to 15 instead, right? Again, that's just me being more patient. But you do you. Just use low leverage, low position size if you are. Consider paper trading as well, just so you can confirm that you are doing well before you use real money. It's important to do that. People get ahead of themselves and see all these amazing gains that other traders are making, but they fail to recognize that those other traders aren't sharing their bad trades. They're only sharing their good ones that are still open, and you have no idea if they're even good. They're just hitting a screenshot over and over until they find the right best price for you. Okay, so again, just be careful what you see out there. It's all good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not discriminating for any other good traders out there. There's plenty of them, but just be careful on who you follow. All right. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks again so much for your time. See you in the next one. Take care.